Today's topic, how to turn a guy on over text. Today I want to show you how you can use your smartphone and a few simple text messages to turn him on. And with all the points that I share with you and all the different text messages that I share with you, always keep in mind that you don't have to use any of these text messages, and you can always adjust your text message to the stage of the relationship that you are in with this guy. If you, for example, just had your first date or your second date, then you might not want to send him really explicit text messages yet. But if you're already dating this guy, then you might want to be a bit more provocative and a bit more confident. But no matter what kind of text messages you want to send him, the first tip that I have for you is so important, and it's often ignored, and a lot of women are not even aware of it. And that's that you don't have to reveal a lot to turn him on. A lot of women who I coached in Skype coaching sessions, they thought that the only way to turn a guy on over text is to send him pictures of themselves without any clothes. And this is simply not true. Your texts don't have to be explicit. I mean, if you want to do that, then more power to you, then do it. But even if you do it, always be aware of the fact that not every man is good at keeping a secret. Some of the women I coached in Skype coaching sessions, they trusted the wrong man by sending pictures to them. If I were you, I would be very, very, very careful with that, especially when it comes to really explicit images. And you don't have to send him any pictures without clothes if you want to turn him on via text. That's something that I will show you in this episode. And if you want to send him explicit pictures, always ask yourself, can I really trust this guy? Because I, for example, even though I'm a guy, if a woman would ask me to send her very explicit pictures without clothes, I would not do it, because I own multiple businesses and I have a lot to lose. And you might also have a lot to lose. And I know it might be boring to talk about this right before an episode about turning a guy on over text, but I think it's so important, because a lot of women who I've coached have trusted the wrong guy, and I don't want you to fall into this trap. Instead, you don't have to send him any explicit pictures. You can stimulate his fantasy with your thoughts. You can, for example, send him a text message in which you describe what you're currently thinking of, and then just describe the fantasy that you have in mind. Maybe you have a certain scenario in mind. Maybe you want to do something fun with him at a certain place. You can text him at any time of the day and just share your fantasy with him. But of course, if you text him in the evening, maybe right before he goes to bed, then it's even more effective if you then share your fantasy with him. And this can be a very easy way and also a safe way for you, without revealing any images of yourself without clothes on, how you can turn a guy on over text. And another thing you can do, and that's actually something that my girlfriend did, was to send a picture of a vacation spot where you could have fun together. And now you might be saying, yeah, but Sebastian, if I send him a picture of a hotel room, that's not really exciting. I mean, hey, how can he be turned on by that? Well, it all depends on what you do when you send him this picture of the hotel room. My girlfriend, for example, and she allowed me to share this story with you, at least some parts of the story, she sent me a picture of a hotel room of a certain hotel in a certain country where she wanted to travel to. And then she described, right after she sent me that pictures, all the fun things that we could do there, including in the whirlpool. And of course this turned me on, because then I had this image in my mind of being on this vacation with her, of enjoying my time with her, and of doing some things in the whirlpool. So yes, this can be highly effective. If you just send him the picture, then it's boring. But if you send him the picture and you then describe either in great detail or in a few short sentences what you want to do with him, oh, then he will be so turned on. And if you want to know how to describe this in the best way, and if you want to know how to flirt with men, and if you want to know how to make the man that you turn on over text loyal to you, then you can work with me as your coach in a Skype coaching session. I've helped so many women just like you to get and to keep the man of their dreams, and it would be an honor for me if you allowed me to help you to achieve the same. And if you want to work with me, you can click on the link in the description and find out more about Skype coaching. And you can also send him a picture right before you go to sleep. This is so effective. And you can then decide how far you want to take it. And remember what I said earlier, I would be very careful with pictures that reveal too much, but that's totally up to you. And if you want, you can, for example, send him a picture in your pajamas or in your underwear or however far you want to go. You can also, for example, if you don't want to reveal anything, send a picture of you, a selfie, where you are cuddling or snuggling under the blanket and he just sees your face. That's also okay. With the right description, this can turn him on even more than if you would send him a picture where you were nothing but how your mother made you. And then you can, for example, write, I wish you were cuddling me right now. Or I wish you were under the blanket with me right now. Or you can make it even more explicit and you can then describe what you want him to do with you under the blanket or what you would want to do with him under the blanket. And if you want to cuddle this guy under the blanket and do other things with this guy under the blanket, I'm sure you also want him to fall in love with you. And if you want to not only use texting to turn him on, but to also make him fall in love with you, then you will absolutely love the video that I prepared for you if you click on the link in the description. And if you click on the link in the description and you then watch this video till the very end, then you will find out how you can send a certain text message that's designed to make a man fall in love with you. And no matter if you just had your first date with him or already your third date, or if you already started dating, you want him to fall in love with you. And if you send him this text message, then there's a very high chance that he will fall in love with you. The link is in the description. And then send him a work selfie. You can, for example, send him a selfie that shows you at work, and you just send him a text message with, oh, I can't concentrate. You are on my mind all the time. Or I'm trying to focus on work, but all I can think of is how you, and then you describe what you want him to do with you or what he does with you in your fantasy. Or you can also let him fill in the blanks and just write, I can't concentrate. And when he then texts back, why, what's wrong? Then you can continue with explicit fantasies that show him why you can't concentrate. And then he will reveal his fantasies to you, and then you can have a fun texting conversation. Just be careful that you don't get caught at work. I don't want you to lose your job just because you want to turn a guy on over text. And another way to turn a guy on over text is to tell him why you were naughty today and what he would do about it. Of course, only if you are into this type of roleplay. Just like with all the text messages and all the ideas that I share with you in this episode, you are the one who decides if these text messages, if these ideas are good for you, and if they are a part of your fantasy, and if you are also turned on by the way you turn him on, because that's also important. You don't just want to turn him on, you also want to enjoy the process of turning him on. But if you share a few reasons with him why you were naughty today, and you then describe what you want him to do with you, or you ask him what he would do with you, this can be a very exciting roleplay, no matter if you just started dating him or if you're already in a relationship. And you can also, for example, especially when you just started out dating him or when you're not dating yet, but you just had your first date or your second date, you can describe the perfect movie night. For example, your next date will be at his place and you will watch a movie. And you can then describe your perfect movie night with him. You can, for example, text him, I can't wait to snuggle up to you. Or I can't wait until you hold me in your arms while we're watching this movie. And if you already started dating him, then you can take things even further and then describe what you would do with him after the movie or maybe even during the movie. And another way to turn a guy on over text is to send him the have you ever tried text. And this is one of the most effective ways to turn a guy on over text. You can, for example, look up a fantasy on the internet that you always wanted to experience, maybe a certain roleplay or maybe a place where you could have some fun, and then send him a written article, a very professionally written article about this fantasy or about this place or whatever you might choose for your fantasy. And then put this fantasy in his mind by simply being the innocent woman who's curious about whether or not he has tried a certain fantasy or a certain roleplay, and just send him this article with the question, have you ever tried that? And then see how he responds. And maybe he already sends you a naughty message, or maybe he also tries to play innocent and he asks you, hey, would you like to try that? And then you can continue with why not, with a wink 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 smiley, and then you can establish a very naughty text conversation. And you can also send a text message with, I can't get rid of this image in my mind. And then you can describe this image to him, but first let him guess. You can, for example, say, I can't get rid of this image in my mind. And then he writes, what image? And then you can write back, oh, just guess, what am I thinking about right now? Or you can also not make him guess, it's up to you, and you can simply describe the image that's in your mind. Maybe a certain situation, a certain scenario, or how good he looks wearing his suit, and how much you will enjoy getting him out of this suit. And you can text him a surprise compliment. And when it comes to compliments, it's totally up to you how explicit you want to make it. For example, you send him a compliment, I like your smile, ... with 3 dots. And then you wait for his response. And when he then says thank you, you just write ... when I do this with you. Or for example, you look so good, ... And then you wait again for his response when he says thank you so much. And then you write when you are on top of me, or when I am on top of you. And you then give him this surprise compliment. This can be a big turn on for him. And remember that if you don't just want to turn him on, but you also want to make him fall in love with you, then you can send another text message after your surprise compliment. And you will find out everything about this text message if you click on the link in the description and watch this video. And you can of course also let him choose between 2 options. You can, for example, start innocently and ask him if he would choose a relaxing massage or a relaxing bath. And then you can let him choose between more explicit things, and it's totally up to you how far you want to take it. And thanks to modern technology, you can also use your voice to turn him on over text. You can send him voice messages with your seductive voice. And then you can combine all these things that are shared with you with voice messages in case you want that. And this can be very, very seductive, and this can easily turn him on. And then the last tip I want to share with you when it comes to turning a guy on over text is to let him guess what will happen later. Ask him if he knows what you want to do with him later, and then let him guess. And if he's wrong, you can, for example, say, guess again. And if he's a little bit right, then you can say maybe, but that's just a part of it. I want to do so much more. What do I want to do with you? Come on, take another guess. And then play this game with him. And this will turn him on so much. And if you enjoyed watching this video, if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below. Share your opinion, share your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. And I would love it even more if you would hit the subscribe button and smash that notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video.